Hi, Carola.
Hi, Joe.
How are you?
I'm very good. How
So
about you?
I'm good. I'm good. I told you before, I'm going to start a new business. I'm very excited. And one thing you mentioned to me is this word or words, strategic planning. And so I want to listen to you today and I want other people to listen, see what we could learn. Because when we're talking about strategic planning, we're not talking about making a business plan, are we? Or is that the same thing?
I mean, it's part of it. When you do your strategic planning, you also consider your business plan into it.
Okay, so let's start with that. Tell me when you say strategic planning, when you sit down with people and say, "Hey, we need a strategic plan." What is it exactly you're getting at?
Yeah, when I start talking with clients about strategic planning, the first thing is I want them to understand that it's not something burdensome. It doesn't have to be something very complex. Every time you talk about strategic planning, you kind of go back to when you studied that in college and you feel like you have to write a book. You don't have to write a book. You can make a strategic plan in just one page. And the most important thing about the strategic plan is having those specific things you want to include, starting with what are the strengths of your companies, what are the weaknesses, what are your opportunities. And from there, you start developing your targets, you start developing your metrics. And it doesn't have to be a big book. Obviously, there are companies that are bigger and there are companies that are public and they need to develop a full strategic plan, like 300 pages or so, because they have to do it. It's regulatory. But for purposes of small businesses, which are our prospects and our clients, you don't have to go and do those 300 pages. You don't have to incur all that time doing that.
And so this applies to anybody who wants to start a new business, whether they start an online business, they're a real estate agent, or they're selling like, I don't know, shoes or paint or whatever it may be, or a surfing company. This is just business 101, no matter what you're doing, correct?
Yeah, every business. It could be a small supermarket. It could be a technology company. It could be a shop. It
Or an
doesn't matter the
independent
type.
contractor too, right?
It could
Somebody's
be an
in.
independent contractor too. Remember that you are going to pursue the things that you write in a paper or the things that you visualize. If you don't write in a paper what you want in the next 3 months, in the quarter, in the year, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, even though your plans may change, you may have a plan right now for the next year and then something happened in your business and you change it, that's fine. But if you don't have that layout and you don't communicate that with the people that work with you, even if it's employees or suppliers or whoever works with you, then you're not going to work towards accomplishing that.
So let's give an example.
Like, for example, I'm working currently with a client and they haven't developed their strategic plan. It's a very good company. They're doing great. But when we started developing that strategic plan, we noticed that he has much more opportunities. So he's leaving money on the table because he doesn't understand the potential of his business because he haven't sit down and work on it. You got to work on that vision. You got to work on what do I have to do now, today, so I can, at the end of the quarter, accomplish those targets. Like if I want to get into 1 million revenues and I'm currently in 200,000 revenues a month, how do I get there? So if you don't start planning right now, you're not going to get there in 1 year or in 5 years.
It's funny. One thing we had spoken about, sorry. One thing we had spoken about was the planning and the strategy of everything we're doing, like building, when I'm talking about building an online business, and I have to lay out everything I want to do and accomplish in the future. And I think this is where you're talking about the strategic plan. And one thing that actually came up for me, which was interesting, when I was laying out this plan, what I'm trying to do, I assumed everything was in English, right? I was just like, oh, English, I'll do it all in English. And the programmer is actually from Brazil. And he said, well, what about putting it in Portuguese, Spanish, other languages? And I was like, And then as you were talking about, thinking about the numbers, started thinking about the possibilities with everything. And that increases my revenue. I guess that's what you're referring to, the strategic plan, because by laying it out and going through with them, and I use the reference of programmers. We had spoken about working with programmers before, but when you work with a programmer, excuse me, sorry, buddy, mixing my words here. When you work with a programmer, whether you're building a website as a real estate agent or a big business or a small business, you got to lay out every detail for them. You got to lay out every single bullet point for them. So when they work on it, they know exactly what you want. And I keep hearing strategic plan in my head when I think about that. because you're kind of making that plan for them. So what I do for the program is essentially what you're saying you got to do for the whole business.
Yeah, it's kind of similar. When you work with a programmer, you start doing all the business requirements, and depending on what you're developing, you're going to go step by step into what you want. If you don't do that, you're not going to communicate that effectively. So you're not going to get the outcome that you're expecting. So it's kind of the same with the strategic planning. You may have like a couple of employees, and if they don't know where the company is going in the future, they don't know why they are doing what they're doing today. One of the most important thing also of the strategic planning is the purpose. Why are you doing business? Sometimes people say like, okay, well, I sell school supplies. So is that really your purpose, or you want to give to the community the opportunity to acquire good supplies for their schools? You know, like you have to go back and say, why are you doing business? And you got to communicate that also to your employees if you want to get the best of them.
Would you call that a mission statement?
There's a lot of words that people use, you know, a lot of fancy words that you get from books, and companies have their vision, they have their mission, they have all of this. But the most important thing is for you to know why you do what you do, why you're passionate about doing what you do, because that's what you're going to communicate to your potential clients. And that's what you're going to communicate to your employees too. It doesn't matter if it's vision, mission, or the word you want to put on it. It's the most important thing is why you're passionate about what you're doing. So your employees are passionate too, and then you're going to accomplish your goals.
And I assume that it shouldn't be, I'm passionate because I want to make money, right? That's not what you're looking for, because there's lots of ways to make money in the world, right? It's, you got to think, why am I choosing this? Why is this the way I want to make money? Why do I want to, you know, what is it about this that I like?
Yeah, I feel your end goal should not be making money, even though everybody knows that's your end goal, because you need to feed your family, and you're not going to feed your family with your passion. So obviously at the end, you got to make money. But in order for you to get there, there are other more important stuff. And I don't think like what I do, for example, I'm passionate about it. I'm not saying I do it for free because I need to live, you know, I need to pay my mortgage, I need to pay my bills. So it's not that I'm going to do it for free, but you need to feel passion. You need to feel like you're contributing to something, and your employees too. So if you as a business owner don't feel that passion, you're not going to translate that to your employees, and they're not going to work towards your goals. It's kind of like a chain. It's not like the domino effect. It's like you got to feel it so you can transmit that to people and to your employees so you can make it happen. But if you don't communicate that, you're not going to make it happen. If I go to my employees and say, hey, you know, the only thing I care here is for us to have a gross profit of 80%, just go and do it. It's like, no, they're not going to go and do it because they don't understand why.
Right. And you're talking in terms of having employees, which is great. But I want to emphasize to everybody what you're saying applies to many different aspects of business. For example, I reference real estate agents a lot because I used to work with them. And if a real estate agent has somebody they're selling a property to, and there's like, yeah, I want to make money, it doesn't work there either. So whether you're talking to employees or talking to clients or conveying it in a social media message, if you don't really have a passion, which I think is what you're saying, it shines through. It kind of permeates through your business that all you care about is the money. So
exactly, and it's difficult for you to get prospects and get client with that mindset. Like for example, you talk about the real estate agent and he's selling properties, but why is he selling property? Obviously, he wants to get his commission because he also has his bills and his mortgage to pay. But when he communicates that to the client, the most important thing is why you want to help this client to sell the property and how you're going to do it. You want to make that experience to the client something pleasant, because selling a property is huge. You know, as a seller, it's like you're letting go a lot of memories, you're letting go your place. So it's kind of emotional. And if you want to be a good real estate agent, for example, you got to feel that emotion with your client. If you're just focused on your commission, you're not going to really contribute to that. And I think it's more important the experience. And at the end, you're going to get your commission too, and it's fine. But you're going to enjoy it more, and the client is going to feel more like welcome and helped by you.
I want to build upon that why, because it's so important, and how it permeates through everything. We mentioned real estate agents who have clients. You mentioned people who have employees, who have people who work for them and conveying that message. I can even take it a step further, as I've experienced building online businesses where I'm not even talking to people. I'm not talking to clients. I'm not talking to employees, but still you could sense through the way the website is built, through the wording, through the text, that if somebody cares just about the money or helping. So it's so important. I want to reemphasize that you really have a clear idea of why you're doing this, because it kind of ends up being your North Star as you develop everything, whether it's the way you talk to people, the way you hire people, or the way you write your social media posts, or the way you design your website. Because when I designed my websites, I knew why I was doing it. And it dictated every page I built, every word I wrote, every image I created. So it's not just when you're talking to people like clients or employees. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a very good example, and I like that you brought that up because, for example, now everything is virtual, so people are doing a lot on their own, and there's not that much interaction. And still, we're doing business. Still, there are businesses that are growing, and it's exactly because of what you're saying. Like every time you go into a website, you can see if that business is solving a problem for you. People want to know, how are you going to solve my problem? Are you available, and are you going to be able to solve my problem, how you're going to solve it, and how you're going to benefit me? That's what you want to see from a website. Every time you go into something, you want to see, and that's what the website shows. It needs to show it, because as you said, you're not going to be talking to people.
Right. So that's an excellent point with that strategic plan. And the thing I got from talking to you, it's that why, what problem you're going to solve. That's the most important part. And it kind of all builds out from there. So once you establish that why, what you want to do with your strategic plan, then you start building little bullet points, if you will. I think in terms of outlines, I'm not a great writer. So of how you're going to do it, and new ideas come up, such as when I had the conversation about putting things in a different language. When I had the why, I want to help people. And he was like, well, why not put it in Spanish and Portuguese? I was like, I don't know why. I guess because I don't know how to do it. He's like, I know how to do it. I was like, a new idea was born, because I understood his concept fit with my objective of that why you were talking about, of the problem I was trying to solve.
Definitely. That it's very important for customers to understand why they are doing business, and everything will line up perfectly if you know your why. It's like, another example is, for example, if you start working out and you just work out because you want to lose 5 pounds, 10 pounds, or 20 pounds. Yeah, I mean, you have a target and it's very specific and it's tangible and you can measure that, and that's good. That's part of a strategic plan. But if your why is because you want to have a better lifestyle, because you want to be able to provide to your family in the long term and be present, that's a better why. That's a better reason, and that will take you there. But if your only purpose and your why is, I just want to lose 5 pounds, I just want to lose 10 pounds, then it's harder, because it's like, why am I doing it? You don't even know. But when you have a real purpose, you're going to go for it. So it applies also to your business and to your strategic plan.
Yeah. And I want to use that for business, but to go with your exercise plan, when it's just about losing 5 pounds, what do people end up doing? Not eating correctly, whatever they got to do to kind of lose that weight in the immediate and the long term, they're not healthy, to use your analogy. But if it's about better lifestyle, their workout or their marketing, to use that analogy, starts getting dictated in a much healthier way. It starts getting laid out what they do rather than just that quick fix solution towards the immediate. So use that example of people just want money and they just want to make a sale. If we go back to that real estate agent, they may make 1 sale, 2 sales, 3 sales, but they're not going to be getting those referrals. Their business is going to suffer because eventually it'll start to permeate that they're just out for that immediate commission. And I guess this is another conversation. But with real estate agents and a lot of business, you find that after they make the sale, because they make the sale and then the ones who just care about the money disappear. And the ones who actually understood their why follow up with, how you doing? How's it going? Are you happy? And then they get referrals. And I guess the same could be said for those employees. They hire them. People just want the money. Do your job. Good. See ya. But if they actually care about what they're doing, care about the people, after they do their job, it turns into a little more, what are you doing later? What are your goals? And you start working with them in a healthier way. I'm rambling. So how am I doing? Am I kind of?
No, definitely. That's totally true. And remember that when you're in business, it's very important, your testimonials and your referrals. So if you do things with passion and you really help clients because you want to contribute to their well-being, they're going to give you a good referrals. They're going to give you a good testimonials, and you're going to feel good about yourself. Every time I see a good testimonial, for me, that's priceless. It's more than the money. It's like, wow, I really did a good job. And the client, it's perceiving and feeling those benefits. So I think if you work with that in mind, you're going to be much better in whatever you decide to do.
Yeah, those testimonials are a great confirmation and motivator for sure.
Definitely. Everybody goes to testimonials immediately. I was just talking about that with a client right now. It's like everybody, every time you're going to buy something, what do? You go for the reviews, you go for testimonials, and then you decide. So that's key. But you're not
That's
going to get
true.
a good testimonial if you just go for the money.
No, you won't. So with that being said, there's a great chat. There's a lot we can follow up on, and we're going to do it again. We're going to do it basically weekly, right?
Yeah, sure, definitely. I love these conversations with you. I'm having fun.
Yes. And if you guys want more information, look at the show notes. You'll find more information about Corolla and Hub Growth Coaching and how to grow your business or get it started if that's where you're at. Thanks.
Thanks to you. Bye. Have a great weekend.
You too.